It's our birthday. It's our birthday. I wore this shirt just for you guys. I just bought it for myself, and I'm going to make other signs look at me in this shirt too. So when I was connecting to the energy, I was getting this overall feeling of like, it's like, okay, you know when not babies get baptized, but adults, you know how they like slowly wade into the water, and they have a large gown on, so it's not like, you know, more modern bathing suits where your skin gets wet right away. When you dip yourself into water with a large cloth on, it takes longer for the water to penetrate through to your skin, right? So I was getting this feeling, right, as if we're all kind of being dipped into this spiritual bath, except it's as if it started with like my fingertip and slowly came up and started to cross over. It was very slow. It was very slow. So I don't know if it's slow because, you know, we all have a birthday at a different time. Mind you, I'm recording this on August 19th, before the eclipse. Okay, but eclipses can take up to 6 months really to unfold. Some people argue, there we go. Some people argue 2 years. Look at this. We have the Ten of Swords and the Ten of Cups. So, you know, not that the Ten of Swords is like the most beautiful card, but I really just think, Virgo, you know that it seems like no matter how much we let go, no matter how much we say, I surrender, I surrender, I surrender, we just have these thoughts. Oh my God. We have these thoughts. And God damn it, are they daunting? Excuse my language if that's offensive to anybody. That's not my tone, but I hope you guys can feel my frustration. Now, what these daunting thoughts are, I think is different for every single person watching this. But first and foremost, I think it's important for us to all recognize that we're overdoing it. We're overthinking what happiness is and what it feels like to be complete and what it feels like to be on your own. I really think too, for a lot of Virgos, this is this end. We've been talking about this since Cancer season. This is this end of this like picture perfect vision that you had of what your future looked like, of what your family looked like, of what your home life looked like. I think a lot of Virgos, and you know, Virgos are so like motherly no matter what the gender, so motherly, so nurturing, you know, unless they're in their more shadow side. And I think a lot of Virgos are realizing they don't need so many people around to be happy. And I think that they're first rectifying this in their minds. Like maybe the people have been gone for a while and you've had this small, very small circle and you just kind of yearned for more because the small circle you had didn't seem that comforting and whatever. But I think there's this like come to Jesus moment. You know what I mean? Where it's like, you know what? I give up. I give up. I don't, you know what? Why don't I start embracing my solitude? Now, I know sometimes we over, you know, separate ourselves, and that can hold us in a position away from love and from, you know, this feeling of just being at home. You know, there's a certain level of comfort and ease that comes with the Ten of Cups. But what's beautiful about these two tens is that these are two new beginnings, ultimately. A cycle has fully completed, and I think it's mostly, first and foremost, a mental pattern that has exhausted itself on what happiness and a family looks like. Because I think for most Virgos, personal happiness very much is contingent upon having some type of family structure. And it does not matter how that takes shape for you. It could be friends, it could be colleagues, you know, because Virgo, you know, puts such an emphasis on work anyways. But there's this real, like, there's been this unrest that is just going to finally die. And I think it's the way you've mentally identified and attached to happiness and what is going to make you feel whole, right? There's this sense here of like you needing wholeness from others. There's one person in this card, and there's you know, a lot of companionship in this card. So I feel for a lot of you, this is the end to like an anxious cycle as well. You know, something that's been plaguing your mind. And you didn't let it take over you, but like if you did, it's costing you, you know, your happy place, so to speak. But there's an exhaustion here. Exhausting yourself on whatever you've been thinking about. You've now exhausted yourself because you were separated. That was what you were using to separate yourself from happiness. And I know a lot of times Virgo doesn't even know why they are driving themselves crazy just to be upset. Like, I know, trust. Y'all know. Okay, so I think that's why it's a slow progress, because as much as we're a mutable sign, we have a hard time with change because we're an earth sign. So I think that there's no need to be afraid to embrace your solitude, because we usually know when we're consciously putting ourselves in the hole. You know what I mean? Consciously putting ourselves in a place where we're detached from people and we're just really isolating. So, you know, you get a lot of power, King of Wands. You get a lot of power from the time you spend alone. I think that some of us in pursuit of that happy, full feeling, right? That spending time with people and just loving life, you know, and just being joyful has exhausted us. And we have to remember that we thrive in solitude and that we come into our most powerful energy, right? All of our leadership qualities are polished in silence and in solitude. Hi, Virgo. I hope you can see the cards. The sun's playing with me a little bit right now. All right, listen. So we know the eclipse is coming. It's hitting everybody hard, but it's particularly hitting Virgos hard. It's also Mercury retrograde right now as I'm recording this. It goes direct, I believe, September 5th. Regardless, it's going to slide in and out of Virgo a couple times. So there are some swords here. However, I really just think they're things that need to be addressed. Okay? I definitely think this will apply to Virgo spiritual path and for a lot of you career as well. And I think for a lot of us, it's because Virgo identifies with their work so heavily. Because some signs, I do their general readings and I can't pick up career like at all. So your overall energy this month is the Emperor. Now, I really just think overall Virgo's getting called to get their ducks in a row. And not that Virgo isn't on top of their game, you know, they are. This is also, you know, for me, even though this is the card of Aries, and therefore, and Aries is related to Mars, and actually Mars is on the eclipse, but also for me, the Emperor always feels like Saturn. And Saturn is still hitting Virgo in a square, especially for those of you that have planets from like 19 degrees onward. Like that area, I think he's at 21 or 23 right now. But anyways, so I really think this is a challenge to say, where have you been rigid? You know, where have you stuck to your guns to the point that it is damaging you? You know, where are you being stubborn in a way that is not serving you? And then where do you need discipline? Where do you need to apply your Virgonian precision and perfection to get paid? Like, for some of you, this is you becoming your own boss. Absolutely. This is some of you finally choosing entrepreneurship, or at least taking a step in that direction where you become self-employed in like at least a, you know, a side hustle fashion. But overall, I really feel this is about harmonizing with your internal male energy as well. Because like when I was feeling that energy in the beginning about us getting baptized, right? That slow change of like a new layer. It was like a new layer being painted on, right? almost as if kind of like protection, because I'm getting a little bit of like a psychic attack vibe, even though I don't like to say all that because part of me doesn't believe in it from the regard that I like to think that we have full control over you know what I mean, like our field or whatever. But to an extent, Virgo has been allowing people to steal from them. More than anything, steal from their thoughts. And some of the energy here, Virgo perpetuates themselves. But is directly, whether it's people that you allow around you, habits that you have that are mentally draining, you letting anxiety run away with you, getting your thoughts run away with, just feeling like nothing's working out for you, feeling like, you're just getting betrayed, right? There's this feeling here of betrayal, of you having to, confront betrayal and feeling stolen from. But it's draining your pockets. It's draining your ability to be the emperor. To be strong and secure and stable all on your own. To be the ruler of your domain. Okay? Now, what Spirit is asking you to leave behind, we have the Three of Swords along with the Tower. Now, we also have the rune here, Trust. For a lot of you, this could, I don't think this is necessarily new pain. Because the Tower for me in this regard is just, in this case, is any time that you've been shocked. Because I don't feel like this happened even in August or this month. It's just like all those times that heartbreak was sprung on you, and that could be loss of a job, loss of a family member, a loss of a relationship, anything. Anytime pain was sprung on you. I really think with the trust rune here, it's saying it rocked your trust in God or Spirit or Source. Because the Emperor is the father of the tarot as well. And, if you believe in a divine masculine energy and a divine feminine energy, then one could say that there's a divine, goddess and there's a god, right? God and goddess energy. And the goddess would be the emperor, or the empress, excuse me, and, God in that fashion. I don't mean Christian God. We have the emperor here. So, I said in the beginning too, coming to God, coming to Jesus moment, like that, oh my gosh, I give up already. It's like pain has set your world ablaze so many times and has diminished your trust, not only in relationship, it manifests as not trusting other people, but ultimately you don't trust yourself because you have stayed in so many situations that were not serving you and you were ignoring your intuition. You would actively ignore your intuition. Because on the bottom of the deck when I pulled this was the High Priestess. On the bottom of the deck when I pulled this was, I forgot. Okay? All the times that you've broken your own heart by ignoring your intuition and therefore violating your own trust of you and you. And that higher you is a higher power, right? Our future self, our higher self is all connected to something that is bigger than this world, right? So it's time to let that go. This is the Ten of Swords, the Ten of Cups in the beginning. It's time to let it go because it is only holding you in separation to that which is your birthright, which is what Spirit is saying is now available to you, and that's happiness. Okay? The door that's now open that was once closed, Nine of Pentacles, clarified by the Sun. And you guys know, for me, this is a Virgo. Sorry other earth signs. I mean, sometimes I say it's just an earth sign female, but I love this card. The rune we have here is marriage. So the Sun is clarifying the Nine of Pentacles. So why is the Nine of Pentacles available to you? Because the Sun. Because it's time one for all that was hidden to be seen. Okay? And with the marriage rune here, it's especially in the way you make commitments. I actually was contemplating recently, and I was tweeting about this. That's why it's good to follow me on Twitter. About the theme of saying goodbye. And there's many ways that we say goodbye. It could be as simple as when you're just having a conversation with a stranger, or you go out with friends to a social gathering, or, you know, you're in relationships or a job and you don't know when to say goodbye. A lot of us, and I think Virgo is the archetype, you know, Virgo is ingrained to feel perfection or to try to strive for perfection, usually because they innately in their soul feel they need to atone for something. And when someone feels they need to atone for something, they usually get masochistic, you know what I mean, and a martyr, and put themselves in a position where they just have to serve and serve and serve and serve, and they feel deep inside, unconsciously, that they don't deserve to be, you know, it doesn't, you know, the energy doesn't deserve to be reciprocated. So it puts you in commitments that you can sense when your time is up. You can sense when that place is draining you, but you stay out of duty, out of feeling a sense of duty, which that duty is ultimately linked to shame and guilt. Guilt that if you leave, you're not doing enough, that person may suffer without you, like taking on a lot of information and emotion that's not yours. So now you have an opportunity to commit to happiness, to commit to bliss, to commit to pure clarity. The clarity of high noon. Nothing falls in the shadows at high noon, right? All is seen. With the Nine of Pentacles here, I think a lot of you are realizing, and I'm not saying you're going to go through a breakup. This is not a love reading, and even if that did resonate, it's not for a lot of you, I don't think. I think a lot of you are realizing you like it better alone. And I mean that in so many ways. Like, you realize you don't want a roommate. You realize that, you know, you want to be separated from your partner, or that you want to remain single. Like, maybe you had been looking for a relationship or looking for new friends, and then you realize, like, you know what, like, the amount of social engagement I have now actually is enough to, like, you know, drain me sometimes. So I'd rather just do my own thing. And I also feel like this is committing to you thriving and committing to a new level of self-care and realizing that when you know, it's one thing to get that money and pay your bills or whatever, but it's a whole nother thing when you just sit on the money. I'm so talking to myself right now. When you just sit on money and you don't spend any money, or you aimlessly spend the money, or you don't spend the money at all in a way that comes back to your nourishment and your well-being, you create a pattern of like, you know, drain, right? We have the Seven of Swords here. You create a pattern of drain. Particularly, I think this is a solar plexus matter, as in regards to personal boundaries. Like a great way that you're going to enhance your personal boundaries, which then enhances your commitment to happiness and therefore having happy, engaging relationships and really coming into a new level of security with yourself and your life and the way that you rule your roost, is through a lot of new self-care routines. You know, Virgo's a sign of health. I think this has to do with diet, like eating good food, not just food that tastes good, but food that truly nourishes your body. You know, baths. This could be just going out into nature and taking walks. This could be going back to the gym. This could be, you know, if you haven't been saving money because you deserve to save money and go on that vacation that's going to make you happy. Also, I think this is, you know, anything that just nourishes you on a soul level. Like, this could be like aromatherapy, like getting yourself a diffuser. Like, this is just realizing overall that in order to really rule your kingdom and to take a whole nother step up and get paid, you need to commit to happiness in a whole new way, and in a way that is autonomous and independent from anyone else or anything else in your life. It has to be you doing for you because you said so, period. Okay? Your energy this month, Virgo. In your head, Seven of Swords, with the rune Luck, Eight of Wands in your heart, and the Seven of Cups in your foundation with the rune Journey. So, for some of you, with the Seven of Cups and in the foundation card and the rune Journey, you could be, you know, kind of feeling confused. Again, Mercury's in retrograde. Feeling confused on what your dream really is and where your spiritual path is really leading, right? And there may be a tendency here to want to just forget about it. It's our birthday month, you know, wanting to go out and have cocktails, or wanting to just, be kind of lost in the sauce. This can even be watching like movies and TV and just, you know, just not really being fully present, right? But it's important to remember that just because the journey is not clear in a picturesque type of way doesn't mean that you're not making progress. I think that's really important to realize. Because you do have 8 of Wands in your heart space, so I think it's kind of like, it's almost, I see it as like Spirit is sending you these pulses, like these pulses that are hitting you. And they have to take time to radiate and like seep into your bloodstream type of thing. Like, and then they will be out there. You know, so with the 7 of Swords in your head, which I was already talking about this in your mind and your thoughts, with the rune Luck, anything that has been holding you back from gaining money or getting a new job, if that's what you wanted, or starting a new business, it's really you overthinking it. And it's you thinking that, like, there's more working parts than you think there needs to be. And you being focused on success, like, it's almost as if, like, let's say it's a creative pursuit, and, you know, you're like, how am I going to make it monetizable? How am I going to make this into a full-fledged business? How am I going to blah, blah, blah? Like, that's actually draining you. Don't share that. And then I said something about psychic attack before. Let me just mention again too. I feel the need to say, do not share your success with others this month, monetarily or verbally. I don't usually say things like that, but I just got that vibe, because now the eight of Wands is like a super positive card, but as you can see, the mind is working against the heart here. So make sure you're not speaking ill of your own success or spending time around others that are speaking ill of your success, because you're going to be very susceptible to energy this month. I see this as like universal energy kind of just flowing into your heart. And I think that this is also you throwing out requests, as Abraham Hicks would call it, like throwing out vibrational requests at a rapid speed. So be very mindful of your head, because if your ego is running the show, you're not going to be able to send clear messages out of your heart. And like I said, don't let this 7 of Cups be confusion. Don't let all the options you have on the table, or like, let's say, you know, you're highly skilled in multiple things. You're just like, oh, I don't know which one I'm going to do. Oh, it's so much. It's like when there's so much going on that you pick nothing. Okay? Don't let it get that bad. Focus on your heart. I think this month we would all benefit really greatly from like taking, you know, the 5 minutes to just be like, oh, what's that poem? I think it's called Ho'oponopono. It goes, I love you. No. I'm sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. I'm pretty sure it's called the forgiveness prayer. In the Polynesian, Hawaiian dialect, it's Ho'oponopono. And that meditation, poem is extremely powerful in forgiveness. Because you can gear it towards yourself, you can gear it towards others. It's extremely powerful. The door that, or rather, Spirit's advice for you is the Wheel of Fortune, clarified by the Knight of Cups, with the rune Success. So, out of this confusion, and you potentially letting your thoughts muddle what your heart has working, what Spirit has working for you, you're really just needing to, again, prioritize your individual joy. And that then presents, it's almost as if this 8 of Wands, like your heart is pumping, or like, you know, pouring and filling this new cup of success. And that cup of success is perpetuating the wheel. I kind of, when I dropped this card, it looked like, I saw that like a water mill, right? Where the water gets picked up from the ground below, and it pours in and pours through, and that's what perpetuates the energy of that station or whatever. That's what I see here. So you fueling your own heart, you using what is flowing through your heart as fuel for your life, you taking what I would call inspired action on what you feel, not what you think, what you feel. It's really essential to be in a feeling place. Virgo season does bring clarity, but if you overthink signs or miracles, like, you're in for, you know what I mean? You're in for a fucking headache because they never, you know what I mean? They're never going to clarify them the way that a Virgo wants them to be clarified, okay? So we just got to rock with the faith. You got to rock with, you know, your God energy, your male energy, which is like knowing that you're acting on something that is in alignment with your truest nature. And how much you let your mind pollute this water or not, right? There's this feeling of like emotional and mental pollution here. If you allowed it, it's not man, you know, you don't have to let that happen. That will determine what kind of water is spinning in this wheel. And because again, we're in an eclipse time, it's like the wheel can go either way. The world, you know, kind of in some regard guarantees an ending and a new change. However, the Wheel of Fortune does not. The Wheel of Fortune is a change in tides of sorts, but it's like you decide how things are going to change depending on what type of fuel you're putting in there, okay? So focusing on your heart, not in a way that is in relationship to other people, but in relationship to you, is what is going to fill up your cup and fuel success in your life and a change in how to be successful. And that success can be financial, spiritual, mental, you know, it doesn't really matter, you know, it can be monetary, but it's important to focus on feeling good in being in a space of love, first and foremost. And that's a love for you and a love for the connection that you have above. Okay? In the outcome, we have us, Queen of Pentacles, and the King of Swords with the rune future. Now, like I just said, clarity is coming to you in the near future, but you need to not beg for it. It's essential you don't beg for it. Okay? Also, if some of you are waiting to find out about a job, I would think most likely later, after Mercury retrograde, after Mercury goes direct, it probably comes back into Virgo, you'd be more likely to hear something. Again, even if you're trying to start a business, okay, same thing. But ultimately, the King of Swords talks about clarity, and he has the butterflies on his throne. So for me, this always talks about transforming the way that you relate to your logic. Because Virgo can take logic and tip it into this place that is just like, it's just like droning on and on yourself. Like people think that we nag them like they don't even know what it's like to think about our own stuff, right? Seriously. So allow yourself to be in a position to accept clarity. Okay? Queen of Pentacles has the rabbit here, right? Fertility, new beginnings, planting new seeds, birthing things that are really going to bring us stability, right? New opportunities. But it requires a calm, secure level of discernment. Yes, because Virgo has discernment, but when they're caught up in anxiety or they're caught up in a depleted energy field, a weak aura, right? If you're not eating enough, I got that message earlier this week. If you're not eating enough, it's like let's say your aura or psychic shield went out 10 feet and like depletes. Like if you're really, really hungry, it's like it depletes to like a foot. So people's bad energy can just like hit you like nothing. Like it's like you go from being so protected to not protected at all. I got that message recently. And also that I think that we're all, and what it is for everybody will be changing, but I think that we're all getting kind of like pushed up an octave, so to speak, in our spiritual path. So like maybe you used to be able to be around low vibrational people like, let's say 8 hours a day. And now after 5, you're like, and you're so anxious and like, don't know why. That's why. So that's why self-care has become a priority, and that your joy is completely like almost dependent on your ability to care for yourself. Because this is my treat yourself card. So Virgo, if you don't do for you in every single area of your life, nobody is going to do for you. So don't be afraid to be stubborn when it comes to your own bliss and your own boundaries. Yeah. Especially when it comes to people you love and care about. Because it's time to get clear for real. Excuse me. But the clarity is not going to come from you putting mental attention towards it. It's going to come from you focusing on your heart space and the messages that Spirit is sending directly to your heart. Okay, so they're bypassing your mind. You need to step out of the mind and into the heart, because even the foundation, the feet, you're confused on where to walk. You're like, where is this journey taking me? Where is this journey taking me? Do not think about it. Feel. It's almost like Braille. It's like the stories in Braille. So you need to close your eyes and shh. You know what I mean? Be present and allow things to happen, because change can and will come for you, but you have to allow it, right? Because we can hate our circumstances sometimes, but we don't even allow change. So if you're ready, then be ready. I mean, it's coming for you regardless, but I suggest you let it hit you like a tidal wave, okay? I hope that was helpful. I love you all so very much, and I will see you very soon. Peace.